Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Samasta Jana Kalyani Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahma Vidvaram. We have been seeing chapter 15 of Bhagavad Gita, Purushottama Yoga. This will be the last session on this chapter. Bhagavan Krishna began with explaining the universe as upside down tree, Urdhvamolam Adashakam Ashwatam Prahuravyayam, a large banyan tree whose roots are above, branches are below. And the root is none other than Brahman, the Supreme Self. And the branches are all the various worlds which filled with the names and forms. In the last session, we saw that this universe, even though explained in that way, life in each one of us is so brilliant. And this very life in us is Lord's brilliant presence. Just like the individual life is brilliant, so also the life of the universe, sustained by luminaries called sun, moon, and the fire. Sun and fire are not just light and heat, they are the sustainers of life on earth. Without the sun, without the fire, life as such is not possible. In fact, without the 5 elements, life is not possible. Space in which all of them are accommodated is necessary. Air, that is prana, energy, connecting all living beings, that is necessary. Fire, which is the heat that can transform everything from one condition to another, purifying the food, that is necessary. Water, without which life cannot be sustained, all reproduction that takes place only because of the water, and earth on which everything grows. Earth, water, fire, air, space, therefore, all these 5 elements are none other than expressions of the Lord to sustain the entire world. Especially pointing out the sun, fire, and the moon. Moon is not a mere reflection of the sun, it is the nourisher. The life on earth without the heat and light cannot be even thought of. According to Hindu scriptures, Lord Sun resides in a human body with his chariot that is being pulled by 7 horses.
symbolically representing the 7 powers known as chakras that are present in our body, according to Yoga Shastra. Mooladhara, Swadhisthana, Manipura, Anahata. These are all considered as Vishuddhi, Ajna, and then supremmost, the 7th one, that is Sahasrara. So one is for sustenance, that is Mooladhara. The second one, Swadhisthana, is for reproduction, water element. Then comes the Manipura, that is the Vayu, that is for health. And then Anahata, that is a heart. Vishuddhi, the communication. Ajna, the point of concentration, spiritual awareness. And finally, the topmost, which is Sahasrara, enlightened stage. So when we understand that the sun is an external representation of Brahman, manifestation of Brahman in the visible world. Therefore, it is extolled in Valmiki Ramayana through Aditya Hridayam. The moon, we may think that it is just a reflection of the sunlight. No, it is not so. The power of sun is incomprehensible. But when it reflects through the moon, it becomes a delightful one and refreshing. Just as the pure consciousness is incomprehensible, but when it reflects in our buddhi as Chidabhasa, reflected consciousness, it acts as the enlivener of all activities and energies in our body. For moon is known as Soma in Vedas, Sa Uma, Shiva with Parvati. Sa Shiva, Uma, Ma is Parvati. So it is to consciousness with the power of Maya. Brahman with the power of Maya is the creator. Ishwara is the sustainer and elator of everything. He is worshipped as Sa Uma Ishwara, Someshwara, on the Mondays especially, traditionally. Monday is Moon Day. It's the day of the moon. Moon also represents the mind because it waxes and wanes. And it also constantly identifies with the senses and sensations. So what happens on a full moon? According to Vedic astrology, the power of consciousness is fully available on a full moon day and gets reflected in the mind, leading to stirring of senses and emotions. And those who are unable to hold that power of the mind, unstable, they get seriously impacted. Therefore, they prescribe austere procedures to be followed on full moon day to reduce the impact of that power. This way, moon, which is externally there present, but it also affects the human mind. Food that is consumed by all of us are also digested by the Lord himself. Aham Vaishvanaro Bhutva Praninam Deham Ashritaha. So he is remaining as the fire in the stomach, digesting the food that we eat by balancing both the incoming and outgoing air, prana, apana. So there are 4 kinds of food: chewable, which are noodles, rice, cooked vegetables; bites, like nuts, raw vegetables; deep fried snacks; swallow, juices, milk, hot beverages; and that which we lick, honey, ghee, ice cream. Bhagavan says that I am both inside and outside. Everything is in me. Sarvasya chaham hridi sannivishtaha matta smriti jnanam apohanam cha. Smritihi jnanam apohanam. Remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. If we don't forget, we cannot even remain a few moments in our life, even few moments of joy we will not get if you don't forget what has happened in the past, what blunders we committed, what things that we have done in the previous life. So Bhagavan continued to say there are three things which you need to understand: the immutable, the mutable, and the supreme. Dvavimo purusho loge ksharas chakshara evacha ksharas sarvani bhutani kutasto kshara mucchate uttama purushastu anyaha paramatmeti udahridaha yo lokatrayama vishya vivartyavyaya ishwaraha. Ishwaraha vivarti. The Lord sustains. Here he called us two kinds of purusha. Dva imau purusho loke. Kshara purusha, akshara purusha. Asmin loke, akshara purusha, shara purusha. Kshara means that which is subject to change, subject to mutation. But akshara is considered as the power that makes this change possible. Maya, the power with its sattva, rajas and tamasic qualities, creates the mutable things. Like from sattva, it is knowledge, happiness, virtues, goodness, which are part of our antakarana, mana, buddhi, ahankara, chittam. And from the rajasic nature, it creates greed, pride, outgoing tendencies, restlessness, which is basically activation of pranas and karmendriyas. Then comes the tamasic qualities: laziness, sleep, delusion, ignorance. This is basically the gross physical body matter. Body is tamas only, all the time. Physical body is surviving by food, by drink and sleep. Body has no intelligence. Body has its own volition to act also. Both knowledge and action do not belong to the body. Knowledge belongs to antakarana, mana, buddhi, ahankara, chittam. Action belongs to prana, rajas. Tamas alone is the nature of the body. That is why if you see animals who are so very deeply associated or identified with the body, those animals cannot intelligently engage or even desire to engage in action as much as some other set of animals which are rajasic by nature, who are restlessly moving about. So in general, the nature of animal is to hunt for food. Mrigayate idi mrigaha. Mrigayante idi mrigaha. Why is animal is called mriga? Mriga means to search. And constantly searching for food. That is the nature of animals. Why? Because that is the demand of the body. That's it. So to eat, to drink, to sleep, to mate, that is the daily agenda of all animals. So that is tamasic by nature. Whereas there are others who can be trained or by themselves are active physically. Like a dog can be trained to be active and do some, activity other than eating and sleeping. So they have rajas. The prana is invoked, like a dog, for example, or a horse, or a bull. They can be trained to act on activities other than searching for food. But by themselves, they do not think and decide. That is sattva. That is only in the evolved human being. So whatever is ksharam is one category. And that which is supporting the ksharam The Maya is Akshara, na Ksharati. But this Kshara and Akshara is what the whole world is all about. Ksharas sarvani bhutani kutastokshar machate. These two are the two kinds of Purushas. Dva imo Purusho loke. Loke dva imo Purusho. But that which is not part of the world, yet whose presence alone makes Ksharam and Aksharam, mutable and immutable, able to do their work, is called Uttama Purusha. The third one, which is not part of the world, that's why he said earlier, in the world only two, and beyond the world is me. Anya. Uttama Purushastu Anya. Paramatma iti, known as Paramatma. Udahruda. So, Yahal Yogatrayam Avishya Bibharti Avyayi Ishwara. That Ishwara is Bibharti, the supporter. That supreme person is the transcendental, all-pervading, untouched by both the perishing and imperishable, unlimited, pure, conscious, free, living within all beings, known as God. Ishvara. Now, one may have the question, what is the connection between Ishvara and Brahman, the Supreme Self? More often, it is intermixed. So let us clarify this point. Krishna himself clarifies this. Before that, we should understand what is the purpose of this entire teaching. The teaching is meant for one to know how to liberate oneself from this Kshara as well as Akshara. So the individuality or Jiva survives only on one or more identification. As an individual I cannot but be constantly identified with one thing or the other. Its expression, Jiva's expression, depends on what it is currently identified with and how important it is for personal happiness. So if I'm at home, I'm identified with my family, let us say, husband, wife, children, parents, brother, sister, dog, my pet, my car, my house, my bank balance, my relationships, my friends. So pretty much our entire daily life is dictated by my identification with my immediate people of importance, because they add to my happiness. A dog, oh Swamiji, my dog is so cute. Oh. 2 years back, you didn't have the dog. Are you miserable? No, it adds value to my life. It adds happiness to my life. That's what everybody says. And so I cannot go anywhere, Swamiji. Even in India, I cannot go because the dog will be alone. Sure. Parents are also forgotten. My dog ke liye, may dog say, and I have to take care of the dog. Therefore, I am not going to my hometown. Even though my parents are calling, I cannot leave him and go. Take him along then. No, it is very costly, Swamiji. And he would not survive Indian food. Cat otherwise. That's good for nothing. At least a dog you can take for a walk. You know, what can you do with the cat? Cat walk. So anyways, people are stuck. So our current identification, present identification, is what is expressed in the form of our priorities. And Why it is so? Because that identification, whatever, I am a husband, I am a wife, I am a parent, I am a grandparent, another one starts. My grandchildren, she is sick, and I am so unhappy. It goes on, it never ends. Never ends. When we are strongly identified with our own personal happiness derived from our current personal emotional identification, our life is stuck there only. I'm not saying you should not feel unhappy about fever that your son or daughter has, etc. I'm not saying that. But do not close your identification only to that extent. Do not think beyond that you don't exist. So expansion of identification reduces self-importance. This expansion of self-identification is the purpose of learning the scriptures. You are not stuck to your body. You are not just the body or a body related, all the relationship. You are beyond that also. When I do not have this awareness, I become only self-centered. The absence of all identification, if it happens, doesn't mean absence of jiva. I mean, sir, absence of the self. It is absence of jiva, all right. Meaning jiva means that the limited entity becomes absent when the identification is lost. But the self, see, interesting thing is, when you were born, what was your relationship? Your relationship is unknown to you until somebody says, I am your mother. This is your father. This is your stupid brother. So, how I was there, I was born without any particular identification. I still lived. I was breathing. I was alive. Identification starts after I've been informed, told that you're so-and-so. Your name is this. You're not born with the name. So then the people get identified with the name also. So strongly. Name, race, caste, color, creed, family, society, community, language, nation. My. So absence of this identification may lead you to absence of the individuality, but not yourself. So discovery of one's self is as independent of all identification, and as the supreme self is the discovery of freedom. By saying that I'm independent or realizing that I'm independent of all these identification does not mean I reject them. I choose to identify and I choose to not identify as well. When I go to work, I identify myself as a professional who is a project manager or whatever it is, and I engage in that activity. And then once I leave the workplace and I start heading back home, nowadays people don't do that. But once you start heading back home, your responsibilities and commitments to the office ends at that point, and your commitments and responsibilities at the home begins. You may have to go to the mall or you go to the shop to get something on your way back home. Yes, then you remember, oh yeah, yes, I have to do that also. So you go there to the shop and buy things, and then because that is your responsibility to do that, and then you go home. Once you are at home during the weekend, you're supposed to have no relationship with the work, but people do not do that because they enjoy and sustain and survive with that identification because they cannot let go. Just leave it. No. 24 hours. Swamiji, you don't know today's world, we cannot leave that. Suffer then. So discovery of oneself as independent of all identification does not mean I become incapable of identifying. No, I choose to identify. See, let us say I am playing a game for a particular country. I'm representing a country or a particular club. I'm a tennis player, let us say, and I'm representing a particular XYZ club. Yes, while playing the game, I am representing the club, and then the fellow who is opponent to me is opponent. I have to defeat him. He may be my friend. At that point of time, when I'm playing as a representative of that particular club, my friend is no friend. He's an enemy. Opponent, not enemy, opponent. I fight and I try to prove myself and then defeat him, no doubt. But once I did that, finish, the tournament had come to an end. Maybe it's a draw or one of us won. All right. When we finish the club, the practice or a tournament, come out. I am your friend. You are my. You did a very good job. You really fought. There is no hatred. There is no enmity. Why? Because you represented your club and I represented my club. Finished. We have given up that. But we cannot do that. We don't. We hold on to the identification as dear as life, and because of which we suffer. Let go of that identification. Yes, you do your best for that role, but that is not you. You are independent of that. You as a husband, you as a wife, you as a parent, you as a grandparent, you as a professional, you as a project manager, you as a citizen of this country. Yes, but exclusively know yourself as independent of all that. I, the individual here now, is capable of recognizing myself as independent of all. When I am identified with the limited, I'm limited when I identify with my family. As a child, as a spouse, as a parent, as a sibling. Then a little expansion, moving further ahead from a child when it is going to school as a student. His only relationship within himself, identification is me, my parents, and my friends in the school. Finished. Teacher. Then beyond that, when he becomes a professional, goes to the university and learns, then his identification expands to the next level. Again, I am a student. I am in the university. I am a professional. And I have a workplace. And I have subordinates. I have my boss. I have the business to take care by my clients, my contacts, my network, my investors, my partners, my shareholders. So see how it expands. Then thereafter, only when one gets the spiritual knowledge, one realizes I'm not only just a student, a parent, or a family man, or a professional. I'm not only that, but also I'm a living human being. As a living being, I am responsible for all other living beings also. I can connect with the plants and animals and nature when I expand my identification as life. And beyond that, I realize that even that is limited. I am the self. I am Brahman, the substratum. Then suddenly I find all identifications are temporary. Only one identification which has never changed in me before the birth, After the death, I am Brahman. That's why Bhagavan said, Yaha lokatrayam avishya viparti avyaya ishwaraha uttama purushastu anya. Different, beyond. So that Ishwara, let us clarify that point. Who is this Ishwara we are talking about? Who is this Ishwara? Now you see, definition of God in Vedanta. Ishwara. Who is the Ishwara? See, Brahman, the absolute, is one without a second. Advitiyam Brahma. Ekameva Advitiyam Brahma. Brahman is neuter, therefore Advitiyam Brahma. Advitiyahane. Advitiyam. With the association with Maya, he becomes Ishwara. The God, the creator of the universe. See, any creation requires power, authority, and ability. So Ishwara is not only having the authority, but also has the ability. The ability comes from Maya. Authority comes from Brahman. Please understand that. So as Brahman becoming a creator means using the power of Maya and creates the ability in himself to become God of the universe, creator of the universe. Please understand, Brahman with the help of Maya is Ishwara. And not that Ishwara is independent of Brahman. Nor Brahman is depending upon Maya. It is a choice that he made. A choice that he has made to act in a particular way. So, Ishwara is Brahman who gains the ability and authority to take care of this world. That's why Bibharti, the word used. Then that very Ishwara, how does he create this whole universe of names and forms? He himself manifests as the names and form. In other words, name and form are projected on him. A particular shape of the mud is called pot. The pot is a superimposition of name and form on mud. Mud has not become pot. Mud is named as pot because of the shape, the form. Similarly, the entire universe is none other than different shapes and names and forms of Ishvara only. But we choose to call as different names according to the form for the transactional convenience. A tree is a tree, an animal, a bird, a mountain, flower, leaves, branches. See, when you take a tree also, tree is tree. Why is it called bark of a tree, branch of a tree, leaf of a tree, twig of the tree, flower of the tree, fruits of the tree? Is it different from the tree? Though we can remove the leaf, but it still originated from the tree only. You can remove the flower, you can remove the fruit, but has it appeared without the tree? Without the tree, is the flower possible? Leaf possible? Branches possible? Twigs are possible? Fruits are possible? No. In the same way, Brahman as Ishvara has become the universe. Every name, every form is his form only. they appear independent of each other because of their physical appearances. Like Gurudev used to say, water is the same. One is called wave, bubble, tide. They are all basically H2O. So manifestation of names and forms which are temporary. If you understand this concept clearly, so they see Brahman, the pure consciousness, is the support of the universe, and only Brahman is absolute, nothing else. That is one without a second. There can be only one pure existence, absolute existence. Others are all temporary. So Brahman associated with, not conditioned by the total ignorance, Maya, is God. Associated but not conditioned. Whereas Jiva is associated and conditioned. Due to the association with Maya, God is referred as omniscient and omnipotent. Because of whom only the entire creation, he being the entire creation, is all pervading, all right, and all knowing. And so he is the highest manifestation of Brahman. If at all Brahman manifests, Ishwara is the first and foremost and the highest manifestation. So since the universe made of names and forms is mere projection, they are not permanent. Even God, the creator, is also not permanent. So we have to understand from the standpoint of Vedanta, Ishwara is not a permanent entity. It's only a manifestation. Even though the highest manifestation of Brahman, he has also a limited scope. He cannot be equated to Brahman because of the very fact that he is associated with Maya. So when the universe dissolves in Brahman as Pralaya, God also dissolves. He is also not there. When there is no creation, there is no creator. See, if a painter has painted a beautiful painting on a large canvas, such a beautiful painting, all right, everybody appreciates it, and it is, let us say, $10,000 price is put on that. Anybody wants to buy. A beautiful oil painting. And it so happened that gallery in which that area in which the painting was hung for sale, and people have appreciated, come there, taken picture, this and that, whatnot, had that particular gallery, in that place there is an earthquake. And earthquake and flood, let us say not earthquake, flood. Because of the flood, the canvas on which the painting was painted, it got completely washed away. The canvas, the oil painting is gone. Only canvas remained. Now, what is the worth of that canvas? Who's the painter in that canvas? When you put the canvas again back on the wall, is there a painter? Because there is no painting. The painter nahi hai, painting nahi hai, only canvas hai. What is its worth? Maybe some $10. And the painter also disappeared, meaning the painter is a painter only with respect to the painting. Similarly, when the dissolution takes place, Brahman alone remains, painting is not. The Ishwara is not there because the creation is not there. So recognize that the names and forms which make the universe is subject to dissolution along with Ishwara. So the process of obtaining the abidance in Brahman, according to Gita here, is worship Ishwara as the creator of the universe and the highest manifestation of Brahman. Whichever be the form of God you are worshipping, that form of God to be equated to Ishvara. Sabrahma, Sashiva, Sendra, Sokshara, Paramaswarat. In many places, Tvamindrastva, Agnischa, Vayuscha, Suryascha, Chandramas, everything is you only. You are Narayana, you are Ishvara, you are Brahma, you are Indra, Varuna, Rudra, everything is you. Why? Because once you have become Brahman, everything is included in that. But presently, for the sake of recognizing him as the creator of the universe, Ishvara is worshipped. You are the highest manifestation. And without any delusion, dissolve the names and forms by knowing that they are all superimposed on the substratum called Brahman. Vimuda nanu pashyanti jnana chakshusha. Only the undeluded can see this, deluded cannot. And therefore, Krishna says that when names and forms are dissolved, along with the Ishvara also dissolved, then abide in Brahman by the grace of the Ishvara. Because the Ishvara, when he dissolves not only names and forms, your individuality is also dissolved along with that. So, Ishvara's grace, one can go back to Ishvara's substratum, God's substratum. He allows you to see that. When you are worshipping Krishna as the son of Vasudeva, Bhagavan out of his grace will make you realize, I am not only just a Vasudeva Putra, Vasudeva. I am not just Krishna, the husband of Rukmini and Bhama. I am not just a friend of Arjun, but I am Brahman. That grace of the Lord will reveal its original nature. So, this is the method of obtaining oneness with Brahman. Very good. As the final words, Bhagavan Krishna says, this Bhagavad Gita is a Shastra. Shastra? How? Idi guhyatamam Shastram. This is a guhyatamam Shastram. Eduktam Mayanaga. Oh, sinless one, what is spoken by me, this Bhagavad Gita, this chapter especially, is also considered as Shastra. Etad buddhva buddhiman syat kritagatascha bharata. What is this Shastra? See, shishyate, anushishyate, bodhyate, apurvaha, anena, idi Shastram Veda. That is, that is Shastra, which teaches and instructs about the unknown. Apurvaha bodhyate. That which is unknown, unknown is by which it is known. Yena anena apurvaha bodhyate. By whom this apurva, unknown, is taught. Shishyate anushishyate. This is Shastra. Is it not Krishna is teaching us about Brahman, which is unknown, including Ishvara, which is unknown? What we know is only the world. The world of things and beings we know, but the creator of these things and beings we don't know, and the substratum of the creator we don't know. They are all unknown. Even Maya is unknown. Ksharam we know, Aksharam we don't know, Uttama Purusha definitely we don't know. So this Shastra called Gita has taught us what? Apurva, unknown. Apurva. Purva means which was there, known. Pravrittirva, nivrittirva, nityena, kritakena va, pumsam, yenopadishyed, tat shastram. I'm bringing the definitions for you to understand what Shastra, because very often Shastra is very loosely used. Scriptures are very loosely used. Okay. So here, clear definition is given. Shastra is that which persuades man to act for a particular object or dissuades from action from some other. Both persuasion, dissuasion, both. Shasanat Shastram, instruction. So now you see how Bhagavad Gita is a Shastra. See, first of all, it teaches action for those who have desire to fulfill. You see, in Gita chapter 3, Bhagavan says that Devan Bhavayata, Yajnena Anena, Devan Bhavayata, worship gods. Te Deva Bhavayantu Vaha. And the gods will in turn will propitiate you or support you, give you encouragement. Parasparam Bhavayantaha, supporting each other, Yena Paramavapsyata. Shreyas. Devan Bhavayata Nena, Te Deva Bhavayantuha, Parasparam Bhavayanta, Shreya Prayam Paramavapsyata. So now we see, the worldly people need to worship for worldly requirements. So Shastra teaches how to obtain the blessings from the gods who are the supporters or the administrators of the various forces in the universe. By worshipping them, you will get what you want. So if you have a desire, we will tell you whom to worship or what kind of a worship you should do. So that is where Bhagavad Gita teaches that, all right. For those who want to purify their mind, how to purify the mind? Through action. Yoga of action, karma yoga. Kayena manasa buddhya kevale indriya rabi yogina karma kurvanti sangam tektva atma shuddhaye. Manashuddhaye. For purity of mind, yoginaha karma kurvanti. The karma yogis do action. Kayena manasa buddhya kevale indriya. By mind, intellect, body, etc. How to do that? For purification of the mind, instruction is given. All right. It also says how to renounce the work to those who seek liberation. Karma sannyas. How to completely remove action from your daily life and abide in the higher self. That is also given. So how to act for purity of mind, how to renounce action, and finally, nature of Brahman, the unknown, is also pointed out. Various places. So is it not that Bhagavad Gita as a Shastra has fulfilled its purpose? Pravritti as well as nivritti. Engaging and for what you should engage and what you should not engage in, and how to disengage, and why for you should disengage also. All these are all given. That's why Bhagavan says finally, knowing this secret scripture, Bhagavad Gita, taught by me, a man becomes wise and becomes fulfilled in life. Because this fulfillment in life is crucial, very important. Otherwise, one would wonder, why am I here? What am I doing? That question not many people ask. मैं क्या कर रहा हूं यहाँ? जन्म में तो हो गया, हाँ, पैदा हुआ मैं, I have already been born. Now I am sure that I am going to die. There is no doubt about that. In between, what is that I am to do here? Just like anybody else, just like a worm or a bird or an animal, kawa, piva, mojo, that is anybody can do. That needs no intelligence. Oh, intelligently eat, intelligently breathe, intelligently breed. Is that what is to be done? There must be something more. To liberate myself from this continuous existence, birth and death, old age, sorrows, poverty. Oh, why should I go through the same thing over and over again? So, becomes fulfilled by becoming wise to understand what needs to be done. So the many commentators says that this 15th chapter is so crucial and so important because it contains the entire teaching in a nutshell. That's why Gurudev asked us to chant this chapter every meal. Before every meal, one should chant this to understand how by reading Bhagavad Gita one becomes wise and fulfilled. Iti guhyatamam shastram. This is the most secret. Why it is secret? That is another thing. Is this a secret? Yeah, it is so, because not all who hear understand the instructions. And it requires one to have faith in him, the Lord, and intense desire to liberate oneself. Without the faith in the teacher and what he teaches, without the enormous amount of intensity, eagerness to be free, to discover one's immortal nature, or even one hears, will not understand. So the secret is a secret only to the one who understands it. The secret is just another statement for the one who does not value it. If I have to tell you, I will tell you the secret of how to reach a particular place where there is a treasure. I'm not interested in the treasure. Then it has no secret to you. Why? I have no value for it. So Bhagavad Gita, Guhyatamam Shastram, the most sacred teaching, it is sacred also, is for the one who has faith and has the intense longing for liberation. Thus, this chapter has a beautiful, abridged version of what is to be taught for every human being, starting from the nature of the universe and how this universe is rooted in Brahman, and how one can cut asunder this huge tree, unseen tree, by detachment and recognizing the Lord, and various other things are pointed out. So go and reflect on this again and again to get the maximum out of this chapter. Om sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramayaha, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschid dukkha bhat bhavet. Om shanti shanti shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.